Vert Stack in the end zone is becoming obsolete. Defenses have figured out they're starting to surround and bracket the stack in order to shut it down. But teams like PoNY might have found a solution. Instead of stacking up, they're spreading out and keeping defenses on their heels. Could this be the future of end zone offense? I don't know, but let's take a look with this first example of PoNY versus Ring. Before I start actually breaking down this clip, I'm gonna let the whole thing play out so you guys can get a gist of what actually happens. I really do love this camera angle. I wish more games were recorded like this because you can see the whole entire play, all the players on the field all at once. But essentially, you're just gonna see PoNY's handlers and cutters kind of flow a bit, and Marquez Brownlee is eventually gonna get the score. And a little bit of a side note, Ring gets absolutely stomped in this game, but that might be a topic for another video. So I know it might look chaotic, but I like to think of it more as organized chaos. So I want to stop it here on this frame to kind of show you the 3 different levels of PoNY's end zone strat. We have the handler level, we got the mid level, and then we got the back line. Now most of this movement is driven by both the handlers and the cutters at the mid level. You can see Sam Little and Marquez Brownlee are the 2 main ones cutting along the width of the field. If that doesn't work out, the handler process starts to begin. If we just watch what Sam Little does here, it's very common for the cutters at the mid-level to actually flow into the handler set to help facilitate more of that movement. But I also want to point out that the backline is not just standing there to be pretty, but they're more stretching out their defense and then filling in spaces as needed. You see that when the mid-level is a bit more active, that backline is more trying to just stretch the defense out. Over time, this is when you see the defense start to ignore them, and they take advantage of that and cut into those open spaces. Some of these next examples that you see on your screen just show how PoNY is able to flow through their offense through both the handlers and the cutters at the mid-level to eventually get a score. Sometimes they do make it look real effortless though, the way that they're able to time their cuts and throw into tight windows, but at the end of the day, they've been doing this for a while. They're the top dogs for a reason, so it makes sense. But other times it might require a bit more patience than that. Sometimes they have to swing and throw it a bit more from side to side the whole width of the field until a score and throw actually develops. Now, I think one of the most underrated parts of this end zone offense is actually the spacing. Now, most of the time, PoNY likes to have 2 to 3 people at each level at any given time, but more often than not, they like to have 2 handlers, 2 people in the middle, and 3 people in the back line. PoNY does a good job of being cognitive of how many players are at each level, because you can see in these couple clips here that when they do get into their end zone set, players will look around and quickly back off as needed. Being mindful of these spaces plays into the huge advantage of being so spread out, because it forces the defense to choose their poison just a bit more, because either they help out underneath at the mid-level more and have those people in the back line more open to find spaces, or they end up playing tighter man, which leaves their other defenders on an island. And when we're talking about the end zone, play one-on-one is just way more difficult to guard. So a couple examples I want to get into, starting with this first one, Marquez. He's literally wide open the back corner. Defender's not paying him any mind. His hands are literally up in the sky like, hey, I'm open. If I let the rest of the clip actually play out, you're going to see that they eventually do get off the sideline to Sam Little, and he's the one that actually finds Marquez like still screaming like, hey, I'm open in the back of the end zone. And then one more play to kind of show the same thing. Marquez tries to strike into that space as like a mid-level cutter, and then he brings 3 defenders with them, and then they find another opening in the back of the end zone. And then just look at the other angle. This is what I'm talking about, like choosing your poison. Michael Ng looks over his shoulder. He knows that Ben Cass is back there, but he also wants to help out underneath. He chooses the underneath option, but at the end of the day, John Randolph still picks and finds Ben Katz in the back there. Now, PoNY's not the only one that's cracked this secret code or like doing this secret strategy. Literally, many other top teams are doing this as well. Teams like Revolver, Machine, and Rhino are also running it. And on top of that, all these clips I've shown you so far have all come from Club Nationals this past year. So top teams are running this against other top teams and still having success. Now, I'm not saying the strategy is unstoppable by any means. Literally, you still have to execute. Defenses can make plays, mistakes happen, all of the above. But I'm just saying, if the top dogs are running it, then maybe a lot of other teams should as well. Whatever end zone strategy you end up using does not really matter, because at the end of the day, you always have to execute. In this game right here,